Hello, YouTube family. Welcome back to another episode of Finance with Lance. This is your one-stop channel for personal finance, investments, and any financially related videos. Now, I decided to start back some weekly analysis of companies. So, you can always leave your suggestions in the box, and I can look at these companies. I'm gonna go strictly by suggestions only are my preference. So if I don't get any suggestions or it's not a company that I am interested in investing in, I won't be doing any analysis on these companies. So you have to put it in the comment section. Now, with that being said, today's topic we're going to look at this company. It's a popular company in Jamaica on the stock market. But there's some recent developments and we want to look into this. Now, Jamaica's inner city transport scene is eating up. Knutsford Express, the company's premier coaching service, is now facing a serious challenge. And this challenge is coming from none other than the government with their JUTC Rural Express. Now, over the last year, I've seen a few small competitors who is trying to enter the market, but I didn't really see them as making any big dent. But I think if the government would be able to create an efficient farmer service next to JUTC, next to Knutsford Express, I think this would give Knutsford a serious run for the money. But we have to look into this and dive more into the matter. No, so today I'll be breaking down Knutsford Express performance over the last audited financial and quarterly earnings. Now, JUTC recently made a big move to establish several routes in the rural market, and it said that this is in a test phase. Now, to me, while Knutsford Express can lose from this if it is executed exceptionally well, the biggest winner would be the commuters. But we'll know why soon, shortly. Now, where is Knutsford Express at this point in time? For the last financial year, Knutsford Express revenue has increased. So we're going to look into the financials directly. So we can see where for the financial statement, the income statement, Knutsford Express crossed $2 billion in revenue in the last financial year. I believe it was the first time, which is good on them to continually be growing their revenue. However, as we can see right here, their net profit fell by around 24%. And according to the chair, according to the executives, this was due to increase in administrative costs, which we can see right here, and other expenses. Now, also taxation decrease. But as we can see, the revenue has increased, but the net profit has decreased. And we'll have to dive further to get the reason as to why. Now, in terms of their assets, their assets as it also increased. Yeah, so their assets, total assets, has also increased to over $2.1 billion. And they have healthy cash reserves, I can see right here, and their liabilities. So I can see where the assets has increased and the liability has also decreased. The non-current liabilities are decreased to $360 million. Now, for the current liabilities, this has also decreased slightly. But to further understand this, I guess we'll have to look. I'm going to look into the recent quarterly, and I'm going to look at the ratios to get a better understanding. I'm not seeing it. So, Board of Directors, we are delighted that our combined efforts have resulted in a 9.1% increase in the revenue for this period from $550 to $600 million over the comparative period last year. Net profit remained flat, declining in the first quarter by 0.5%, still representing an earnings per share of 0.13 cents. No, total assets grew over the corresponding by 12.9% from 2 million and 96 to 2,365 over the last quarter. Our investment in the Knutsford Express Business Center and Jackson Center has exceeded our expectation as the rapid expansion of the area known as the Greater Orcharius has established a commercial hub of activity in the area. While we expect continued growth from this location, we also are pursuing other opportunities for synergistic benefits to our core business of transportation, courier, and logistics for other locations across the island. So yeah, as I said before, when me and my last analyst and my last live, we came to the conclusion that Knutsford Express was more than just a transportation company. They're a courier company also. And this can see even now with their real estate establishment. Trying to unshare the screen. I'm sharing. Yeah, so Knutsford Express, the company is still to me a stable company, but the margin is being squeezed over the last few years. And bear in mind that JUTC just recently launched its route, so that will not be seen. We won't see the effects on the financials yet until maybe the next quarter or two. So you can imagine probably the margin will be squeezed even further at this time. But I'm gonna go across a quick summary of the ratios that I had downloaded. Right, share screen. So we can see right here where the earnings of Knutsford Express has been pretty coming from 2020, from 2020 2022 with COVID years. They've pretty much fell off during those years because the island was pretty much in a standstill. However, in 2023, we see where things normalize back. So their profits reach back at the 300 million. And today, at the time of doing this video, which is I downloaded this document last night. Year to date, the stock price has fell by 10%. And the shares outstanding at the moment, you have 500 million shares and 500 million and 15 shares. And the stock has ranged over the last 52 weeks from $10 to $15. Now, looking at the solvency, we can see where, we can see where our long-term debt to equity is currently 28%, which is pretty modest. It's not bad for this particular company and this sector. In terms of the trajectory over the last 5 years, it has fluctuated a bit, as we know. That was due mainly to COVID. So in 2019, it was 24%. It went up to 29% in 2020, then 64% and 43% respectively. But those are COVID years, so those are anomalies, outliers. Now currently it's 28.2%, which is not bad. It's modest. And their EBIT, the interest expense, is now 15 times, which is good, which is okay. And if we're gonna look at their profitability, which is where the major concern is at right now, and if the company will be able to grow due to the factors of increased expense and competition. Now let's look at the return on assets. Now, in 2019, the return on assets was 14.6%. Bear in mind, in 2020 with COVID year, 2020, and there was a decline. So I'm going to ignore 2020 to 2022. Back in 2023, it was 16%. 2024, 14.3%. 2025, 10%. And currently, it's at 9%. So what we find is that as the company is increasing, the company is constantly increasing its assets, but at the same time, the profit is declining, and that has now led to a lower return on asset ratio. Likewise, you have a lower return on equity. So the company has to be investing more into more assets to get the same results. So it's not really, to me, it's a stable company, not growing as fast at the moment unless they can make some drastic changes. Now the net income margin also has been falling from 16% to 11% currently. So I want to see where this falls in terms of their ratio, in terms of so price to earnings has constantly been increasing also. So general increasing from 16% in 2024, in quarter end 2024, to now we have a price to earnings ratio of 27%. So book value is now 4.2. But what I would say is that for me personally, I have to continue to watch Knutsford Express some more, but I don't think it's one of the best companies to invest in right now for me personally, due to the fact that the margins are being squeezed and it will be squeezed further, and this company can make some drastic changes, and with a price to earnings ratio of 27%, it's not justified to me to be buying this particular company at this time.
The joy of transporting you, your loved ones, and precious cargo has always been at the heart of what we do. As your preferred transportation and courier service provider, we are committed to continuous improvement through innovative technology, state-of-the-art buses.
So as we know, Knutsford Express was the go-to option for long-distance travel in Jamaica over the years, many years, but now we have seen increased competition. Is it still as profitable or still a lucrative buy? Now, in terms of JUTC, on October 1st, the company launched its new rural express service linking Kingston to Montego Bay, Ocherius, Negril, and Mandeville and Maypen.
To other news now, the JUTC in Manchester. The state-run bus company launched a new route in the Southern Parish on Monday. And with 100 new buses, the JUTC is promising additional routes in other parishes as part of its commitment to improved service in Jamaica. Krista Campbell has our story.
New buses, new routes. The Jamaican Urban Transit Company, JUTC, says with an additional 100 vehicles added to its fleet, it's also adding new routes across the island. On Monday, JUTC buses rolled into and out of the Manchester capital of Mandeville on the new 512 route, with more routes expected soon.
We have Negril coming up, we have Puerto Antonio, we have Montego Bay, and we have Ocherius.
The 512 route will run for a 3-month pilot period, departing Mandeville at 5:45 a.m., 10 a.m. and 3 p.m. At $50 less than what the mini and coaster buses charge, Central Manchester Member of Parliament Rhoda Moy Crawford says the JUTC fare is competitive.
For adults, it's 500 up front. If no card, 600.
So, head-to-head comparison, if you should look at the fares, based on this article I'm reading, from Kingston to Mobay for Knutsford Express, the cost is around 4,400, while for the JUTC Rural Express, it's $2,000 flat. So that's half the price for the same service. So essentially, if the government is to efficiently and can consistently, because we know that the government tends to not be very efficient and doesn't maintain a lot of their programs. Now, JUTC traditionally has the edge and reach and consistency, and JUTC is now winning on the affordability. But the real question is, can JUTC continue this novelty? And that will be the test of Knutsford Express and see how they can pivot this situation. Knutsford Express have the ability to innovate, and they can be more flexible in terms of their pricing and their loyalty rewards and all of these things. But can they do this while keeping quality service without losing too much money? That's a question that would have to be answered. Knutsford Express owns the better brand, but JUTC with affordability and the state muscle definitely will put a fight to this. So who are you riding with? What do you think? How is Knutsford Express looking for you as a company in terms of performance and valuation? And how you think this will play out? Let me know in the comment section. I will follow up with this video next on this topic, maybe next year early. But let's see how this plays out. So stay tuned while I do more companies. You can leave a suggestion in the box in the comment section.